The tech companies, they're laying off a lot of employees, almost for no reason. They're panicking, the economy, laying off. This doesn't make the situation better. It worsens the situation. In United States, laying off somebody is very easy.
We have a 10 news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI and SSDI. Continue watching this video, guys. We have a ton of information about this. Now, if you claim Social Security, you need to be aware of this. The top leaders and lawmakers are currently discussing the future of Social Security, as more Americans struggle to pay bills. Advocates are pushing Congress to approve further relief checks. Republicans and Democrats are even pushing their own plans that they believe would improve Social Security. And now the new presidential candidate, Mike Pence, wasn't afraid to talk about this weekly political perilous choice for vice president and Social Security Medicare. Now he has faced an uphill battle and bringing the rest of the field into that conversation. An advocacy group of older Americans, the low-income older Americans, are getting hurt not only by inflation, but also from the end of the extra food stamp aid in March, which impacted 30 million people enrolled in the SNAP benefits. The worst hit of all groups were older Americans, with some experiencing a drop in benefits from $281 a month to as little as $23. Although inflation is ticking down from a peak a year ago, the costs are still ranked high as the budget category that risked increase the fastest over the past 12 months. Inflation is a top concern for all lawmakers, but it's especially burdensome for older Americans. It is why it's important for lawmakers to approve additional relief for seniors and retirees. A trio of bills aimed at cutting property taxes for New Jersey seniors have cleared committee with bipartisan support this week, and the bills introduced by the Assembly Speaker will cut property tax in half for seniors and expand eligibility to certain health benefit programs. The main bill defines the Stay in New Jersey plan as a proposal to address lowering tax costs for seniors to ensure that they stay in New Jersey instead of going to other states where the cost of living is cheaper.
Today, we're accelerating the implementation of the Dependent Care Flexibility Spending Account, which will give military families the option to receive a pre-tax benefit for daycare, preschool, and summer camps, and much more. This order also focuses on providing resources for military spouses or entrepreneurs, like some of the folks up here on the stage will be here in a moment. That includes exploring new funding options, like grants and loans, help military spouses start and sustain their businesses, and developing new resources that are going to make it easier for entrepreneurs to relocate their businesses if they have to PCS. Folks, let me close with this. Next month, we'll celebrate 50 years of the all-volunteer force. At the time, there was some debate about whether or not we could draw in the talent we needed, about whether Americans would answer the call to serve. But 50 years on, we see so clearly all of you who raised your hand, all of you who volunteered, are the reason that our military today is the greatest fighting force in the history of the world, bar none. That's the reason. And the reason we've been able to sustain that force year after year, decade after decade, is because military spouses, caregivers, and survivors have answered the call as well. You have your loved ones' backs, just like they have the country's back. So the only way to keep this force strong for the next 50 after that, is keep our promise. We uphold the sacred obligation we bear to our military members, our veterans, our spouses, caregivers, and survivors. Today, I'm here as Commander-in-Chief to sign this executive order because it matters. It matters to our military recruitment and retention. It matters to our troops' readiness and resilience.
Is really experiencing a backlog of claims. We talked about this last night, which I know really got worsened during the COVID-19 pandemic. And then, of course, with the passage of the PACT Act last year, the number of benefits, veterans seeking benefits is only going to rise. So I wanted to ask you, if confirmed, what are you going to do to make sure that veterans are receiving timely responses to their claims?
Senator Murray, thank you very much for that question. When I was...
I'm so glad you're here today. You have a doctorate in chemical engineering. It's my understanding that most natural gas pipelines, and we talked about them, are not equipped to ship blends of methane and hydrogen where the hydrogen component is greater than 20%. Could you please explain to all of us how a conventional natural gas pipeline differs from a pipeline which is capable of shipping blends with more than 20% hydrogen?
Sure. Thank you for the question, Senator Barrasso. So hydrogen being such a small molecule and corrosive can create cracks and attack imperfections.
Are stimulus checks going to be sent out immediately? I know many of you are wondering what's the status for fourth round of stimulus payments. Well, new information has just been released, everybody. Cassidy and his staff have been working with lawmakers to get feedback and make changes as they go. There was a short window where Cassidy thought Biden might engage on Social Security after the midterms, but so far Joe Biden hasn't done anything to announce his plan to help Social Security beneficiaries. But back in April, more than 66 million people took home a benefit check from Social Security. Now 50 million of which were retired workers. Among these retirees, close to 90% rely on a monthly payout to cover some portion of their monthly expenses. Whether you're already retired or have just earned the workforce, surveys consistently show that most Americans will lean on their Social Security payout in some capacity during the golden years. In other words, maximizing what you'll receive from the Social Security program is important. All told, more than half a dozen elements can impact what you bring home monthly or to keep from the benefit checks. As an example, Social Security benefits became taxable above certain income thresholds. Additionally, a dozen states tax in Social Security payouts to some very degree. But so far, when whittled down to the basics, 4 components are ultimately responsible for determining Social Security. It's your work history and, of course, your retirement age. Folks, we got 10 news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI and SSDI. Now, there's a ton of information that you guys definitely want to know about this. Continue watching. We have a lot of information about this.
Per month. This is, it's never happened before. And look, history's been made here. But it comes alongside the largest drop in unemployment rate in a single year on record.
The Senate in history of the United States has been amazingly and extraordinarily productive. 20 months into the Democratic majority, I just want to take a moment to highlight the many, many accomplishments we have secured in this chamber under Democratic leadership. It's the most in recent memory. The American Rescue Plan, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill, the CHIPS and Science Act, the Gun Safety Bill, the Inflation Reduction Act, an omnibus package, and many other bills in between. Senate Democrats have worked hard every step of the way to improve the lives of American people, to help those in the middle class stay there, to help those struggling to get into the middle class a little easier to get there. And we will continue to do our work for the American people this week by passing a CR to keep the government open.
Benefits have lost around 40% of their buying power. One of the biggest proposals in the works is an increase in benefits. For people who are ages 80 and older, not only will this help older adults maintain buying power, but it will also provide a boost for retirees who are running low on savings. And while nothing is set in stone, this plan does propose increasing benefits by around 5%.